Let me first begin with thanking our elegant and eloquent Thembisa Magele for the good job that she always does. And I'm also expected to acknowledge distinguished guests that I am going to enumerate momentarily by name. Dr. Kim Bettel, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment at UJ, and her team, Mr. Johan de Kokke, Mr. Peter Henning, Mr. Farouk Varakchia, Professor Didibuku Twala, our guest speaker, Dr. Namane Mahau, Ms. Mojaji Siabi, from the Department of Women, Children, and People with Disabilities, Ms. Kekezo Maema, the CEO of the Commission of Gender Equality. We also have an esteemed adjudication panel that has made it possible that we will be celebrating special women who have achieved great things today. We have Mr. Martin Lewis, the CEO and Registrar of the South African Council for Planners, Mr. Andre Dogal, Senior Lecturer and Head of the Mining and Engineering Faculty or Division at UJ, Dr. Innocent Musonda, who is also Senior Lecturer in the Department of Construction Management, Quantity Surveying at UJ. We have a special group of people that Thembisa referred to earlier, who are going to give us their insights. The panel members present here today, we have Dr. Gertrude Fester, who is the Professor of Transitional Justice and Gender Equality, Mr. Junaid Ali, the Executive Director of Human Resources and Corporate Affairs at Group 5, Ms. Lindelwa Mbiataza, the Deputy Chairperson of the CRDB, Reverend Naledi Stemela, who has just blessed us with a blessing earlier on, the Chief Director at the National Department of Public Works. And later we are going to be with Dr. Mampela Rampela, who is also going to share her insights. And people that I haven't mentioned that are not on the list, pardon me. And ladies and gentlemen, I think all of you present here are very special, and I welcome you all. I think for us as Group 5 women, we stand on the shoulders of a giant company that you've just seen on the screen. And it is the shoulders of men, and one of them is here, tall and a giant indeed in real life, Junaid, who are really, I think, living the transformation, I think, philosophy that it's almost, I think it's a philosophy or it's become a cliche, but at Group 5, we are proud to say that we are part of the leadership, part of a company that really is committed to transformation and gender equality. And we will share with you momentarily some of the things that we are trying to do. We don't think we are there yet, but we do believe that with the commitment and the leadership that we're seeing right from the top, that we will make, I think, a good headway and also to influence our sector. So I welcome you all and greetings on behalf of the management and employees of Group 5. We congratulate UJ, our partner, for the foresight in creating this platform that brings distinguished group of women and men, I should add, every year to mobilize gender transformation within the engineering and built environment sector. The WiEBE program remains an important initiative to address the critical skills shortages, not only within our sector, but also in our economy and the African continent at large. We at Group 5 therefore consider it a great honor to be the main sponsor of this great initiative for the 5th year this year. I think a round of applause for that. We do this because this initiative resonates with one of our core values as a company of transformation. We do this because we know that empowering women to participate fully in economic life is not only good for women and their families, it is also essential for a thriving economy. In fact, a nation's competitiveness depends significantly on whether and how it educates and utilizes its female talent. The empowerment of women, therefore, is not a luxury. It is a critical, yet untapped potential in the further acceleration of economic growth and social development. Pursuing the fair representation of women within our sector is not a matter of justice alone. It is a matter of ensuring that all perspectives are brought forward. As we all know that women and men have different attributes and experiences, it is therefore important that both men and women are in positions of influence in order to bring these experiences and perspectives into the decision-making process. The theme of this year's summit, as has been communicated earlier, is about institutionalizing women empowerment. This theme is indeed timely and relevant to us for several reasons. Firstly, women are still in the minority in the leadership and technical professions today. There are many reasons, but largely we think that it is because of the structural, cultural biases and other forms of barriers that still prevail in many of our organizations and societies. Secondly, women empowerment tends to be an event-driven issue. It's not always made an integral part of organizational strategy that is measured, and there are often no consequences for non-attainment of goals in this area. It is therefore important that we develop institutional mechanisms in our organizations in order to build the lasting change that we all aspire for, as well as continue to assess the progress we are making on a regular basis. Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, in her book, Lean In, confirms the importance of institutional change in addressing women empowerment. She says, we still have institutional challenges to deal with, but if we change people's minds, we will change our institutions. Companies have an obligation to know that men raise their hands faster and know their own successes, and their own successes. Sorry. I'll repeat that. Companies have an obligation to know that men raise their hands faster and attribute their own successes to themselves faster. We need managers and leaders that understand the biases that women face. I've been asked to say a little bit, sensitive of time, Tembisa, about the Group 5 Basadi program, a women empowerment initiative which we launched just a year ago. I think as we have seen, Group 5 is recognized as one of the most transformed among the JSE-listed construction companies. The group has attained a level 2 rating in terms of the construction charter, scored 100% in both enterprise development and socio-economic development, and has been rated the best in industry for skills development. I think we deserve a round of applause for that. However, even with this impressive general profile, we have acknowledged the fact that gender demographics in our company are still lagging behind, with women comprising only 18% of the entire workforce. And I think that's great. I think compared to many of the companies within the sector, we're actually the best compared to some of our companies. But we do believe that we have a lot to do still. So the board and the executive committee of the group have endorsed the introduction of a special program focusing on women empowerment, an intervention that would assist the group in fast-tracking the attainment of its transformation objectives. So, the Basadi program's overarching aim is to ensure that our company is truly transformed in our sector, and that we are all able to attract and retain female talent, as well as to create opportunities for women-owned businesses within our construction value chain. So it's not just an internal focus within our organizations, it's also looking at other women that are operating within the sector and making sure that their businesses thrive because of our businesses. Before launching the program, we ran an internal survey that pointed to a number of common challenges that women were facing. This related to 3 main areas that is in our company. The one area was inadequate work facilities. Women on some sites don't have accommodation, they don't have toilets, and these are issues that we are pursuing and that are being addressed. And in most cases, because we are contractors, we work for clients, you'll find that we work for clients that are really not equipped or are not really on, aligned to our thinking in terms of transformation. So it's not just about transforming ourselves internally, it's also about working with our clients to make sure that they understand these imperatives and are able to provide the things that women need. Another area is policy and working conditions. I think we all know that women carry onerous responsibilities, not only in the workplace, but also in the families, in communities. And most often organizations tend to not, I don't think they don't understand this, but they all sort of turn a blind eye and expect you to go on with it. And maybe it's okay, but I think in order to get these things right, there have to be policies that ensure that the needs of women are addressed. There are generally no child care facilities, I think, within our sector, and time to nurse babies. And women, and from this survey that we carried out, many women said they didn't have adequate training opportunities, or they thought they were very bleak promotional prospects, that traditional glass ceiling. And then, of course, if there's an inadequate training, you will never be competent enough to rise up to the next level. So those are some of the things that had to be addressed. Another subtle element was, the third element, is that of culture. Most of the women spoke about the difficulty of breaking into the boys' club. And then the perceptions that women are weaker, the perception that women are inferior. And in most cases, there would be questions that women get pregnant and you won't be able to, to carry on with work. So those are some of the realities of how human beings are made, but how can we accommodate each other to make sure that we all find each other in the workplace. And in some cases, the women complained about the undermining culture, especially by the male colleagues. I think one of the women said, "I dislike it when people use the construction industry as an excuse to be rude." So these are some of the things that underpinned, or that became a basis on which this program was launched, because we had to understand the issues and then design a program that would address the issues appropriately and adequately. The specific objectives of the Basadi program, therefore, are to ensure that the policies and working conditions in the company are supportive of women, not just women internally, but also in terms of procurement, how we deal with suppliers and so on, women-owned businesses. So policies and working conditions. To ensure fair progression, equitable pay and benefits between males and females. There was a strong perception, real or imagined, that you have to work double to be recognized, but at the same time, you do the same work and then your male counterpart gets more than you get. But we have had to research and look at the HR practices within our organization to satisfy ourselves that those things are not happening. So this has become part of the responsibility of this committee. Another objective is to provide training and mentorship and networking opportunities, such as the events like this and others, for women to be able to enhance their specific skills and abilities needed to succeed in the construction industry. And then the program is also about building a positive culture where males and females respect and value each other's differences. And then lastly, to encourage women to be well-rounded and the responsible members of society involved in community work. I think you'll have seen on the video clip that one of the things that are very special about Group 5 is our involvement in communities, and we make sure that our employees spend time during their working hours to help the needy in our communities. The Basadi program is managed through a committee structure that comprises a team of senior women representing our 4 business clusters. The committee is supported by other subcommittees in each of our business units, because it became important to involve women at all levels of the organization, top and bottom up, top down and bottom up. And the role of these committees is to ensure that we act as sounding boards and input on women issues within the organization to our executive committee and the board, and to support our management at all levels, at business unit level and at group level, and employment equity committees in identifying and addressing gender issues in their respective businesses, and to assist in program campaigns and activities and other specified tasks, and obviously running the program as we have designed it. We are still at the beginning of this long journey of transformation, as I've said earlier. However, we are proud of some of the milestones that we have achieved within a year that we have been running the program. We have trained 70 female employees on the Women in Business Skills training program. We have sponsored women construction companies on a business certificate course running by Deloitte, and again addressing that issue that some of the construction companies that are owned by women have got certain inadequacies that often people expect them to measure up, but they're not supported accordingly. So we have gone further and ensure that we identify companies, women-owned companies within the sector, and ensure that we work with them to develop their skills and also open up opportunities for business within the sector. We also sponsor and support the 16 Days of Activism Against Violence and Women and Children campaign. We have begun work with the future of the African daughter, FOTAD. 16 young girls from a high school in Diepsloot were hosted by the Basadi Committee and had a day's exposure on some of our operations as part of the CELSI Bring Girl to Child to Work Day. We sponsor and support the Department of Settlements Women's Build. Only last week, 15 of our women were in the Eastern Cape and spent 2 days assisting in building houses for needy women in the Eastern Cape. And of course, the WiEBE program is our capstone program that we continue to support because it's the right thing to do. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that this year's summit will contribute to building our understanding of strategic ways to ensure that women are able to participate meaningfully in shaping policies and implementing programs that will bring about sustainable change and greater gender equity in our sector and in our economy. As we congratulate all the nominees and finalists in this year's WiEBE Awards, we also celebrate all of you women and women out there, the unsung heroines in our sector, as well as the community at large, for the sacrifices and contributions towards bettering lives of others. Let me therefore, with great pleasure, welcome you to the WiEBE 2013 Summit and wish you all a fruitful and enjoyable day. Thank you.